By the end of this video, you are going to learn the truth about index funds, not the YouTube hype, the real pros and cons. Here's how we'll do this. We're going to do it in 3 steps. Number 1, what are index funds? And that'll include accumulation against distribution funds and why I personally use Vanguard as a broker, provider. Number 2, the big problem with buying everything, so the bad versus the good. And number 3, the blended alternative, so my approach to my own index fund. So a defensive portfolio versus an index fund and what the difference might be. Index funds are great, but they're not perfect. So I'm going to have a look at why what I think I do is a little bit better for me. Coffee. Right, I'm going to put this mug. Again, as always, a quick legal disclaimer. I am not a financial professional. Nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my opinion and kind of what I like, really. You need to do your own research. Do everything I say, back it up with your own research before you do anything. Let's have a look. If you've watched any finance YouTube, you will have heard the same thing. Just buy the S&P 500. You hear it all over the shop. Index funds always win. Don't pick individual stocks. That's the worst thing you can do. Most people lose money. Most people, that's good advice. But here's what they don't tell you. When you buy an index fund, you buy everything. So you buy all the good and you buy all the bad. You'll hear the people say, oh, you don't want to risk missing something. But if you're like me and you don't actually care about missing Google or Tesla, then it's not a problem. So let me show you what I mean by saying there's a lot of ugly. First, let's define what an index fund actually is. An index fund is a basket of stocks that track a particular fund. So for example, the S&P 500 index fund, which a lot of providers provide, tracks the S&P 500 index. The FTSE 100 fund, which a lot of providers have a fund that caters to, tracks the FTSE 100 index. Are you seeing the pattern here? On my personal favorite, the FTSE All World, which is thousands of companies from across the world, but funnily enough, the majority of it is the S&P 500. So it's kind of a broad basket fund with the S&P 500 included. The idea is pretty simple. Instead of buying individual stocks, you buy everything. You get average market returns, which is have typically been about 7 or 8%, taking away everything else adjusted for inflation. People do rave about saying it's actually closer to 10 or 11, but let's be conservative and say 7 to 8%. I have most of my money in an index fund. I use the Vanguard All World fund, so shout out to Vanguard. It's one of the most popular global trackers and it's got thousands of companies from across the entire world. Why do I use it? It's because basically it is less volatile than other trackers. So it's less volatile than the NASDAQ, less volatile than the S&P 500. More diversified means smaller swings. Now, there's one thing that most beginners don't know, and I certainly didn't when I started investing. There's 2 different types. You have accumulation funds versus distribution funds. Accumulation funds, dividends are all automatically paid and reinvested into the fund itself. So you actually never see any of that money. And then distribution funds are income producing and they will pay out all the dividends and income that is paid to the fund, which is a taxable event. So I definitely prefer accumulation due to that reason. Accumulation funds, especially for US companies, that there are taxes behind the scenes that you don't see, but it's all reinvested. So it's really kind of just a set and forget strategy. However, in the UK, and I know abroad, it's similar as well. Inside an ISA or a tax wrapped account, it doesn't actually matter, does it? If you're receiving those distributions, that income. And some people do, there's that psychological benefit of seeing money land in your account and seeing your returns. So that is a benefit. And you never know, you might want to invest in something different that's not an index fund. In any case, in a tax wrapped fund, or fund with a tax wrapper, or an account, sorry, with a tax wrapper, it's not really gonna matter. There's gonna be no tax either way. I prefer accumulation funds for a few reasons. Again, you can have it in a general investment account and it's going to be automatic compounding. There's going to be no taxable event happening. There's less temptation to spend the cash. You say, oh, I've got some cash sitting on my account. Maybe I'll just take it out. There's less temptation for that. And overall, it's just a bit cleaner for long-term growth. So if and when you buy this Vanguard fund that I use, not recommending, it's not advice, but that I use, go for the accumulation one. That's what I'd say. So that's the theory. Pretty easy, low cost, simplified, diversified. Pretty easy, right? So what in the world is the problem? What could the problem be? Let me show you in part 2. Quick call to action. Let's comment below. Do you currently own any index funds? Why do you own it? Which one have you picked? I keep banging on about how I want to start this learning community, and I think I've had one comment time of filming on all of my videos. So engage with me and let's have a little chat. And I'll reply to anything because I really want to engage with our community and see what you're doing. Because again, I'm still learning here. Part 2. The problem with buying everything. Here's the problem that nobody talks about. When you buy an index fund, you buy everything. And yeah, you buy the good, but you also buy the bad. The good companies and the bad companies. Let me give you a concrete example to clear this up a bit. Over the past couple of years, tech stocks have had an insane P to E ratio. Now, if you don't know what a P to E ratio is, go back and watch one of my other videos. But it's basically one of the metrics we use when valuing a company. High prices, high P to E ratios. Some of the biggest companies in the S&P 500 have got P to E ratios of 30, even up to 60, and I'm sure there's probably some that are more. Really overinflated. There definitely are some tech stocks that are way overinflated. Now that's expensive by any historical measure. When you buy into an index fund, you are forced to buy into those stocks, into those companies, because they're the biggest companies. Because they're overpriced, they take up a larger share. They're automatically in the index fund, and then they're inflated even more when people buy index funds. So they're way overpriced. So at the top end of, when you look at your huge companies, your Apples and your Googles, they're way overpriced because they're the most popular, so they're going to be in any large index fund. You don't get to say no thanks, that's too expensive, you just have to buy them. And it's not just high P to E ratios, it's high P to B ratios, you're buying a lot of debt, there's a lot of stuff in there that you do not get to choose. That includes unprofitable companies, hype stocks, meme stocks. An index fund will just buy you whatever. Now, let me give you an example here. In 2021, some of the biggest holdings in the S&P 500 had P to E ratios of more than 40. If you bought the index, then you bought it at those prices. Now, we all know what happened. COVID happened, 2022 happened, everything goes down. So things have gone down by sort of 30%. A lot of these stocks did go down between 30 and 50%. Just because they were overvalued. They weren't worth what you were paying for them. They were overinflated. Surprise, surprise, your index fund would have dropped with them. Now they have recovered now. I can tell you my All World fund has recovered, but for that short term, it all goes down. Index funds are really good at protecting you from individual company failure, but they're not very good at protecting you from market bubbles. When the expensive stuff crashes, your index fund crashes too. Another call to action here. Let's talk P to E. Let me know, I think I showed you a while ago, one of the companies that I had that was dropped 99.9% in value. Now that had an incredibly high P to E ratio that I should never have bought. Tell me about you. Have you got any crazy stories of making money off high P to E ratio companies? I bought into some Palantir as it was going up. I made about £100 on it, and then I sold because it was a really silly thing to do, but buying on the way up, because I do like a bit of fun sometimes with my investing, but that was trading definitely than it was investing. That wasn't a smart move really for me. Go check your P to E ratios. If it's over 25, that is historically expensive. I'll reply to anyone who posts a number. Part 3, the blended alternative. If index funds are not the answer, what in the world is? Let me show you what I do. So I build my own defensive portfolio with more than 50 stocks. There has to be at least 50 because I don't want more than 2% in anything. This is based on my £100 method from my first video. So if you haven't watched that, go and have a look about my £100 method. And that's how I got to this really diversified portfolio. And I bet you say, why 50? Why not 100? Why not 10? I picked 50 because I feel if you lose 2% of the portfolio, it's not the end of the day. And that was what worked for me. It was a reasonable target. Yeah, maybe 100 is better, but are you gonna find 100 companies that are really great? Maybe you are. I think I'm sat at about 60 at the moment, or maybe 65. Actually, honestly, more the better. But I think 50 is a nice little target to begin with. So with 50 plus stocks, if there's one bankruptcy, which there haven't been any in my portfolio so far, but if there's one, it doesn't really matter. And actually the other gains have more than covered it. The difference is I'm getting to choose what goes in. Yeah, I might miss out on Apple. Yeah, I might miss out on Palantir, but overall I'm quite happy I'm not in this for the speculation. I'm in it for really boring companies that make money. I call it my stock picking for dummies index. So dummies, let's, can I call you dummies? Is that offensive? Maybe stock dummies. Now let me show you my real numbers. I'm gonna make my real numbers appear on screen, do some YouTube magic. Recently, my Vanguard FTSE All World fund lost about £1,500. This is due to the events in the Middle East, while at the same time, my defensive portfolio went up because there's no tech bubble stocks, no high debt, just solid companies with reasonable valuations. The index fund had no choice. It owned all these expensive stocks and it went down. When tech dropped, the index dropped. Now, I'm not saying index funds are bad. For most people, they are the right choice. They're low cost, they're simple, they're diversified, they're easy. But for me, I've built something that works better for me. Not because I'm smarter, but just because I filter out all the rubbish. And again, I'm probably gonna lose overall, but I enjoy investing. I don't know about you guys, I really enjoy it. And the best part, like, anyone can do this, right? Start with that £100 method from video 1. Do that. That's how I got to my portfolio. And I'm not a hugely rich man. That's how I got to my my £10,000 stock picking portfolio. Create your own defensive portfolio over time. Let me see. Let's share some ideas as well. Here's what I want you to do. Please comment below. Look at your biggest holding right now. Is it an index fund, or that could be in an ETF, or is it an individual stock? Comment down saying index or individual, and then let's have a talk about it. And if you've ever lost money in an index fund, comment down below saying same, because I have. The thing is, it's buy and hold. I've lost money, but I've also made money. But none of that has ever been realized because I'm just leaving it. All right, let's have a quick recap. The difference between accumulation and distribution. Yeah, I hear you saying one's gonna give you the money and one's gonna automatically compound. What's the main problem with buying an index fund? You have to buy everything, including all the bad. And how many stocks should we be holding in our defensive portfolio? In my opinion, at least 50. If you've got all 3 of those in your mind, you already understand investing better than most beginners. Right, if you haven't watched my first 3 videos, I'm gonna make them appear somehow. Go and have a look. Video 1 is how I beat the market with my £100 method. Video 2 is my value investing method with the help of Benjamin Graham. And video number 3 is dividend investing and how that works. This video builds on all of them. Have a look, go and look at video 1, and I'll see you there. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn now. Go away, go and build your own index fund. Make your own index, your defensive index. Let's make some money. Filter out the bad, and I will see you in the next one. And comment below. Join the learning community.